Hello and welcome to Godzilla's Kaiju Lounge, where today I'm going to talk about how I would have incorporated Space Godzilla into the anime. First, to give some backstory, Haru would have escaped from Earth with his parents. Some point about 3 years later, they would have died from a spread of sickness on the station. On the ship, leaving him to be raised by his grandfather. Then we would have still had a similar scenario to how his grandfather lived, but they found a planet that looks habitable, but they need to send people down to test it. So they do the same thing, send the elderly, only we find out off the bat the elderly volunteered for this because if they die, they'll die on the ground of a planet. Moments after the ship gets out, it blows up, doesn't even make it to the planet's atmosphere. And at this point, Haru goes nuts and he hits a few officials. That's why he winds up in jail. He would be overall a more likable character. They send another ship with a handful of volunteers, and it turns out the planet isn't so conducive and it's not suitable at all. Basically, there was something causing interference on the planet, making the sensors think it was a good atmosphere when it wasn't. Okay, on to the second movie. We still meet the Hotua. We see Mothra's egg up close from the beginning. And we see the psychic connection and stuff like that, only instead of Space Godzilla, we're going to feature Magura in this film. There would have been two mechs made. Everyone knew about the failure of Space Godzilla, but Space Godzilla was meant to have a battle partner, Magura. Magura stood completed all these years. So everything plays out similar again with just more likable characters, and I'm gonna shrink Godzilla down. I'm gonna make him 130 meters, so he's still the biggest Godzilla ever, but quite frankly, they made Godzilla, I think, a little too big, and they didn't do enough interesting with him. So I'm still gonna keep it within the realm of you can still do something interesting. They get to the Mechagodzilla city. Similar thing with the nanometal. They begin to plan a counteroffensive. They start rebuilding Mechagodzilla, but it's clear he's not going to be ready in time, so they put all their dice on Magura. And they do the other mechs souped up like they did in the movie. Meanwhile, they start to study the servum. One of the guys points out, hey, these things are more like worker ants or bees. It's almost as if they're part of a greater hive. But what can the queen be? Well, it's going to be King Ghidorah. I'm going to put him in the second one. And he's basically going to look like his heads are going to be more of the Servum style head. He'll still have the crests and the mane from the Showa era. And he's going to show up towards the end, about 30 minutes left to go. Godzilla wakes up, starts moving to the city, the Bello Saludo. Whole thing with them fusing with the city happens, except the Bella Saluda, we're going to see they're already partially mechanic. They willingly make parts, limbs, or even eyes mechanical so they can be one with machines. The scenario plays out the similar, except the girls in the Magura, and the whole nanomachine still happens in there. They don't let Haru pilot because he needs to lead the attack against Godzilla and he can't put himself in harm's way. Only he can't stand leading from behind the scenes. He wants to be on the front line, so He acts hastily, knocks the pilot out, takes one of the mechs, and everything ends similar until King Ghidorah shows up and they have to unite their attack against King Ghidorah. His gravity beams are attacking the Magura, and that's when the nanomachine thing happens. So she can die in a similar way she did in the movie, only she dies this time. Magura is blown to bits, and Haruo manages to get one of those EMP spears into Ghidorah, which, although it's not as damaging as it was to the smaller Godzilla, it stuns him momentarily, which allows Godzilla to take it out with an atomic beam. Anyway, on to the third movie. I gave too much setup. It should have been Ghidorah. Those crystals the Exith use, in my version, they are crystals from Space Godzilla, fragments of Space Godzilla. He already has connections to the black hole. Haruo is at his lowest point at this, and he's at his angriest. This is twice he's gotten countless people under his command killed, and he can't deal with it anymore. He's just lost it. And the Ho-Tuo, he's not going to be involved with either one of the Mothra twins, but they're trying to pull him out of his rage. Mephis is trying to pull him deeper in. He needs to be the conduit for Space Godzilla's rage. The whole cult thing still happens. Only when Space Godzilla gets summoned, the ship doesn't get destroyed. The electromagnetic fields he generates causes the ship to crash land on Earth. Yeah, there's a lot of people dead, but a lot still survive. And Space Godzilla lands. To redo the laws of physics don't apply to him scene, Space Godzilla lands, he starts bringing the crystals forth, and they do the same scans, and they're like, the atmosphere, it's changing around him. It's ammonia, this, that, and the other. He's terraforming Earth. Nothing will be able to live here when it's done. And at this point, Mechagodzilla's ready, only Haruo doesn't pilot it. He's stuck in the psychic battle with Mephi as he takes one of the last surviving nano-metal enhanced mech to meet Mephius. So we relegate it to one of the other characters to fight Space Godzilla, and because of the field Space Godzilla generates, Mechagodzilla can't do much. He is relegated to being about as effective as Magura was in the Space Godzilla movie. Godzilla shows up and we get a 2-on-1 assault, but no matter how hard they hit him, Space Godzilla hits harder. He blows one of Mechagodzilla's arms off. He actually impales Godzilla through the shoulder with a crystal. And Mothra's egg would have hatched at this point and spun the cocoon. This is where Mothra hatches from the cocoon. First, she flies over where Mephius and Haru are having their psychic conversation, and we see some light emanate towards her into Haruo. Then she joins the fray. Not that it makes much difference. Space Godzilla is easily able to hold all three of them off, seemingly effortlessly. Mephi still has the Charmin thing in his eye, only it's just a piece of the crystal. And Haruo manages to snap out of the psychic battle, smashes it, and that's it. And he actually stabs Mephis, and Mephis dies laughing. You think this is gonna stop him? You're the conduit for his rage. As long as you're alive, Space Godzilla will prevail. And we see it's made very little difference. He's still single-handedly outdoing all three of his opponents. So Haruo takes the mech. He laments how he just wanted to make a better world for his people, how he wanted to defeat Godzilla, and how now his existence may doom all of them. He's gotten friends, people he cared about, killed because of his haste and arrogance. And he takes the mech and crashes it into SpaceGodzilla. More of a Sarazawa-esque sacrifice. And this weakens SpaceGodzilla enough for the three to defeat him. Mothra flies off. The pilot chooses to self-destruct Mechagodzilla and escape in an escape pod, and Godzilla just walks off. And we see the movie end with the people acclimating themselves to Earth. They keep technology to the extent where they still have make medicines and whatnot, but they abandon weapons technology, and they decide to even experiment, and they set up a place that just make weapons, and we see Godzilla destroys it. So the conclusion is, as long as they don't make war, Godzilla will leave them alone. So we get a point where they live at harmony with the Earth and Godzilla. We see a statue of Haruo, and we see Godzilla and Mothra are still out there, but things are looking better for the people of Earth, for the Hotuo, for the humans, and the movie just ends on an optimistic note. So, what are your thoughts? Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Over and out.